about 800.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, we built.
Was that full strength that it was allowed for, or was
That was authorized strength at that time. Of course, in the commission form of government, because the head armor was a part of the government. In fact, they never really bothered with authorized strength. The budgets were piecemeal. If they decided in the middle of the year they needed more budget, well, they just appropriated more budget, and this sort of thing. And there was really no sanity brought into the government until the council manager form came in, and you established a budget on a fiscal year, and you justified it, and that was it.
Well, and were you undermanned?
Well, of course, you say, were you undermanned? And at this point in time, insofar as I'm able to determine or learn, I don't think anybody really knows. There's never been any real justifiable standard set.
For the optimum number.
For the optimum number, that's right. The people talk about this 2.6 per thousand population, which is simply they took all of the police officers, some 425,000, and they averaged them up, and this is how it came out. But this has no meaning at all. Management in police agencies is one of the weaker points in it. And consequently, the weaknesses show up all the way through. There's never been any standard set in the police profession as such. It's, I think, and I hope, and one of the reasons why I'm at the university is to try to help develop this.
This, I did want to get, what is your title at the university? I realized
I'm an assistant to the director of the Institute of Criminal Justice, whatever that means.
Who is the director of the
Joe Canale. He's a retired FBI agent.
So both of you have come out of law enforcement,
right.
But one from the federal level and one from the, so you have really bring two viewpoints that
right.
would
well, yeah,
work together.
I think we're both police orientated. I think that, but however, I have done a great deal of study in this area, and I'm becoming more and more correctional orientated, because this is, in the last analysis, is where we're going to whip the crime problem, not the policemen. We're going to whip them by rehabilitating them. We've removed punishment as a deterrent. We're not barbaric. We don't. Well, I think as late as 1825 in Tennessee, we used to scald people and cut their ears off and brand them. We had no penitentiaries. And then we moved out of that stage, and we simply, the Quakers in Pennsylvania, I think, are the ones that started the penitentiaries, and their idea was to give them a cubicle and let them do penance by praying in this cubicle, and everything was going to be all right, and this hasn't worked. So there's only one answer. We got to rehabilitate these people if we want to, in fact, cut crime. A policeman can't cut crime. They can only react to crime.
I wanted to, before we go, since we are on what you're doing now, I wanted to go back just a little bit at this point and get, you say you'd been on the police force for 26 years.
Right.
Did you come there directly? Did you ever do anything except police work?
No, that's primarily.
That was your first
well,
job?
I was in the Air Force
during
World War II. Right.
Are you from Memphis?
Yes, I'm a native Memphian. I was reared in the southern part of Memphis, and
attended Memphis Public Schools.
Well, I went to Whitehaven.
Oh yes.
Actually, we were in I went to grade school in the city and high school in the county.
Which grade school? We just love to get this on the record.
Well, it's out of Ernest Adams, which is now Mallory Heights
yes.
grade school, and then Whitehaven High School. And then my education was stopped at that point. I went into the service, came back on the police department, and since then I've taken courses at 4 or 5 different universities, but I do not have a degree.
Who was the commissioner at the time you went on the police force?
Commissioner Boyle.
Joe Boyle?
Joe Boyle, Holy Joe Boyle, as he was known as in those days. Mr. Crump brought Mr. Boyle in. I think Mr. Crump had realized that corrupt cities would not long exist because of the federal pressure, and he brought him in and literally cleaned up Memphis by virtue of the fact that he was a dictator.
Well, I have heard that, and I have heard that, for instance,
that's true.
The red light district ran wild up until the beginning of the Second World War. Is that accurate?
Well, all of this took place in the late 30s, and it was pretty well all over with by the time World War II got here, or before, a year or two before.
It was
that,
at
really.
that period that there was
Now,
a brief
I came
period.
in 1945,
Mhm.
so
But it was
after
during
war.
the 30s that Memphis was known as the murder
Oh,
capital.
the murder capital of the world.
Or some such.
It was
Yeah.
earlier, I think.
Was it earlier?
Of course, that's
Yeah, right.
that don't have too much
No.
meaning, really.
I
Well,
know.
what,
It-
is there any way to generalize? For instance, is there any way to compare crime at the time you went onto the police force with crime now? Is it the same kind of crime? Why, for instance, did Memphis never have organized crime?
Well, I think it was basically because of honesty in government. Mr. Crump demanded complete honesty in government.
Mhm.
and he himself did not
He-
really profit
He never
financially.
profited